Hey guys, came up in a chat group of I'm in, and what it has to do with is you go to college, you get your maritime license, and then how do you get a job with it? Where do you go? What's the best route? And the big thing I've heard is nobody knows. So there's really two paths, and you make your decision on your own. But you have the company hire option, and you have your union option. Now, we'll break that down as we go. I'll tell you where I went. I'm union, Marine Engineers, been in 18 years now. It's been very good to me. I'm very biased towards them. I think I have the best thing going. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of each? Most of your company guys, when you talk to them, they have this objection to paying union dues. They're like, it's just another tax. I'm giving money to somebody I don't have to. They don't want to give any more money to the government than they have to. I understand that logic. You do get something for your money. One thing is job security. When you work for a company, that's it. You work for them. There's nothing else. They go out of business, and don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And you're like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Well, it happens to a lot of people. The biggest one that I never thought would have gotten out of the maritime shipping business was Exxon. Exxon gave up its fleet about a year ago, and those guys had it the best. They made the most amount of money, had the best retirement package. The company always took care of them before that. And then when Rex Tillerson became Secretary of State, whoever new came in didn't follow that philosophy, and they were just out. And it was like one of the best jobs you could have ever had, ever gotten. It was just over one day, and it was gone, and you got what you got, and that was it. To be into that, the companies, I've been 18 years, I've had my license, and Exxon, Sabine, MTL, these were all company hires. They're all gone. They're just not there anymore. So you worked for them, you got nothing. And the list goes back and forth. You worked Texaco years ago, and like that's it. They're gone. You don't have anything. I can't even begin to count how many companies I've worked for that aren't that company anymore. They've been bought, sold, moved to this, moved to that. I was a Keystone guy for 7-8 years. Keystone, their mates used to be non-union, then they came into the union. They were the biggest tanker company in the United States at one time, and now they have 0 tankers. They have 1 tug barge that they're operating and a few lake ships. The security's not there in being a company guy anymore. It's just not. So what do you get with the union? Like I said, I was a Keystone guy. My ship got scrapped, went back to the union hall. I've had a lot of time in, so I'm a senior group, and I got a job right away. So there's a lot of security in having that. Like, I know I could go make a paycheck again, and it's a very good paycheck. So which brings me into, so what does it take? Well, all you really do is, what are your choices? So in the United States, you have MEBA, Marine Engineers Beneficial Association. My union, very biased towards it. It's an engineers union. There are mates in it. It's an engineers union. Masters, mates, and pilots. It's the opposite of MEBA. It's a very good union. Their pension's not as strong. I don't know what they have right now. I would highly recommend it. If you're a deck officer, masters, mates, and pilots belongs to you. Marine engineers belongs to the engineers. It's just, I hope the two of them merge because there's a lot of shared responsibility there. In the next 20 years, I could definitely see it happening. It's just, that's the way to go. Then you have AMO, the American Maritime Officers. And they seem to have a better philosophy now than they've had in the past. But I used to never have anything nice to say about them. And I don't really want to beat them up too much, but I will not recommend anybody go down that route. I think you're better off working ashore than you are working for them. It's just when you add everything up, what you have to work and what you get at the end, I just don't think that the value is there. So what is the value? What are you going to make? How hard is it? Third engineer on a tanker now, if you work 6 months a year, you're looking at about $120,000. That's in 2020 money. It's probably a little better than that. That's not bad, and it goes up from there. I don't know what the top is. I haven't sailed third in a long time. It's probably closer to 135, 140 would be like a top third assistant. Third assistant. This is the starting wages. That's pretty good. I don't know many other college graduates that are doing that. That's what you would make on any of the ships I'm working on as third. You get up in the chief range, captains, you're looking in the 180 to 220, 240. I heard there's some $300,000 guys out there with these little contract loopholes. That's what you're doing. You're really in the top like 5% earners in the United States. And you're working 6 months a year for that. And which brings me to another thing. Talking to tug guys, they're doing that good money too. They're not working 6 months for it. So it's kind of, you have to judge it out because, you know, even working ashore, like power plant guys, like some guys doing shift work 180 days or less a year. So they're kind of doing the same thing. Where are you at? What's that daily? What's it worth? What's the commute worth? You got to figure that out on your own. What else we got to get to? Retirements and pension. When you're 20 years old in college, you don't think about it, but it comes up on you faster than you can imagine. I touched on it before. MEBA is the only one with a full pension. I'm going to collect mine at about 42 years old. I'll get about $60,000 a year for the rest of my life. If I was married, my wife too, that's another story altogether. But it's worth about $1.2 million. So if you want to compare it to a 401k or employer match contribution, and guys get wrapped, I get a 10% employer match. Like, well, that's great, but what does that add up to? Well, if you want $1.2 million over 20 years, essentially what you need to save is $60,000 a year for 20 years. And I know there's compounding interest and all that, but nobody is going to fucking give you $60,000 your first year into your retirement. It ain't fucking happening. If you find that guy, let us all know. It ain't happening. If you got 10, you did amazing. So then by year 10, and you got to catch up, now you need $100,000 a year. It's not happening. The MEBA pension is one of the best things out there. It's going to be around. I don't know how to describe it. The Exxon guys were the only ones who did better. And I don't know how else to describe it. And plus there's our money purchase benefit and 401k. When you add all that up, MEBA just comes out ahead. So I don't know what else to say here. I'm going to do another video, but it's going to be a few weeks. I'm actually waiting to join a ship. Ship's delayed, so I'm like standing by to fly out. I'm bored. When I get back, I'm actually going to take you on a tour of the Union Hall, show you how the jobs are posted, the contracts, the wages, how all that stuff happens. But if people have questions, you could post in the comments and ask. And this isn't really getting shared with a cadet group, but I hope people do pass it along to them and see how it goes. And I encourage questions. Hopefully when I'll come back, there'll be enough feedback where maybe I'll make a video on the answers of those questions. All right, guys, I'm out.